So good morning. I'm Rev Liz Mirante, and I'm so grateful to see you on this beautiful, beautiful morning where there is always light, and we remember the light. And in fact, this whole month, we are being awake to light. And the very first Sunday of the month, we talked about the fact that each of us has our own particular light to bring to a situation. And I invited you each, as this month unfolds, to really see what is that light that each of you is. And yesterday in the Science of Mind magazine, which is a wonderful magazine, our organization has two magazines, Science of Mind and Creative Thought. And they both have articles and prayers and are a great way if you're trying to figure out how do you start your morning with spiritual thinking instead of the worries and the negativity and the problem solving that happen. Science of Mind magazines are a great way to start, and each of them have daily guides. And I wanted to read you what was from some of the things from yesterday, a couple of quotes that were used, because they speak very much to that light that each of us is. And those of you who read Women Who Run with the Wolves, Clarissa Pinkola Estes said this: anything you can do from the soulful self will help to lighten the burden of the world. Anything. You have no idea what the smallest word, the tiniest generosity can cause to be set in motion. So it isn't about moving into something and saving a situation. It's about bringing your light, your smile, your humor. And Emily Dickinson, of course, a couple hundred years ago said, "They might not need me, but they might. I'll let my head be just in sight. A smile as small as mine might be, precisely their necessity." A smile as small as mine might just be precisely what is wanted and needed. So, what is the light you are? What are you waking up to about that? Take just a moment and share with the person next to them. What is it that is coming up to you as the light you are being and sharing this holiday season? Do that for just a minute. So fabulous. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. And now when we have our candle lighting service, we love that. You guys want to keep on talking. Yeah, I know. We'll just forget it. I'll just go sit down. You guys keep on sharing that light. I love that. So hold those thoughts and be those thoughts. And then when we have our candle lighting service, we're going to have a little bit of an interactive service. So we'll have an opportunity both collectively for you to share the light that you've been opening to, that you are, and to take some individual sharing. So keep it up, and thank you. So now to this week. The talk title is, because you don't have the cheat sheet there, is Let There Be Light, which is, as I said, if some of you who read the e-blast, the first recorded thing in our tradition anyway, it's the first recorded thing that God said and did. God's first words were, "Let there be light." And Ernest Holmes, the founder of our Science of Mind teaching, or the synthesizer of the world's philosophies and religions, that synthesis that became known as Science of Mind, he says it this way: that light is the first great revelation of the divine creative energy that called all living things into being. Light is the first great revelation of divine creative energy that called all living things into being. And I think it's very significant that light was the first thing, the first element, the first quality. And in reflecting on that, I thought it had that idea that that was the first thing and that it was light, gives us two powerful reminders that are very useful any time of year, but especially this time of year. And those two great reminders are the primacy of light and the power of the word, let there be. So first, the primacy of light. As you know, God got pretty busy after the thing itself said, let there be light. But he didn't, she did not get busy creating everything, so the story goes, until light was brought into the world, until light was revealing. So what does that mean for us? It means that all that light stands for needs to come first. And if you'll notice, and I did, Jack spoke those words that we usually associate with light, or that light is a metaphor for wisdom, clarity, truth. I might also add harmony. And those things really are also kind of a synonym for consciousness, conscious consciousness itself. That needs to come first before we do stuff. Don't you love it? Before we do stuff? Before we do anything. And you all have your own stuff. But that was all of a sudden the realization was a little daunting. I know several of you are planning to go out of town, and so you're running around doing all your things. I'm thinking, if anybody has good ideas for what I should get for my dad, would you please tell me? Steve's dad is not so hard. My dad, it's hard. He's a great receiver, but my mom used to be the one, she'd say, your dad really needs a belt, or, your dad needs some shorts, and here's his size. And I mean shorts, not boxer shorts. So she would be my little crib sheet. So one of the things that's sad about her leaving the planet is I don't know what my dad needs anymore. So, except me, and he'll get me for Christmas, so that's good. But anyway, like me, you all have your stuff. You may be distracted from the service this morning by having your lists. Okay, looking at it, checking it twice. Did I do that? Did I do that? Oh, God, I got to do that. And we have this tendency as that aspect of us that are the human doing machines to go do. And what I want to remind you with this idea of let there be light first is that before you head out into your day, take that moment to open up to light, open up to clarity, open up to wisdom, open up to truth, open up to peace. Say, God, Mother, Father, God within, let your light shine in me. And God always says yes. Let is just a convention of wording. Let there be light within me so that I may do all the doingness I have to do with clarity, with wisdom, with harmony, instead of blindly doing. I don't know if you're like me. When I forget to do that, my doingness, especially when I'm busy, my doingness is motivated by fear, which is what stress and approval really are about, is the fear, I've got to do this, I've got to get this done, got to get this done. Have you ever noticed that when you're stressed or motivated by fear, creativity doesn't happen? Things don't usually result the glorious, loving way we want them to. They have a tightness to them. They have a fragmentation to them. Or I know sometimes I'll blurt out something I didn't mean to say. When we forget to take that morning pause, that morning time, we can't all have Jack to come into our house in the morning. Wouldn't that be nice, though? Jack, maybe you should do that, a little phone in. Of course, I don't know what time Jack gets up. A little phone in Jack. Let's breathe and take a moment and call for that light first. And that light dispels the stress, says, honey, what you stressing out for? That light says, you have it all within you. You know what you need to do. That creativity, that love, that vitality, that ability to do what you need to do and think about it is all right within you. But we need to take that moment to call the light. So take a moment right now and just think about if there's something that's sort of looming next week. As I said, it may be this whole list of tasks. But if it's just preparing for the holidays or getting ready to go out of town or whatever it is, bring that to mind for a moment now, if you will. And then just open and call for that light of God's truth and wisdom and harmony. Call it forth within you and see that light lifting you, awakening you more fully, and inhabiting all that you do this week. Just take that moment. Let there be light. See all that doingness infused with awareness and mindfulness, with consciousness. And so when we take that time to open to light, to call forth the light, we also remember something else, which is that whole phrasing that God is recorded to have said, which we don't really believe that literally, but it is, again, it is such good reminders. Let there be light. God didn't say, it's kind of dark. Gee, I wish it weren't so dark. Or, do you think it's possible to have light? Well, that's ridiculous because we can't imagine the divine infinite doing that. God said, let there be light. But where is that divine infinite? It is within each of us. And so the other thing to remember is that we are co-creators with the divine. That divine stuff is in us, and it is up to us to speak that same word into our lives, especially when they get busy. To remember that we enact the nature of God. Usually I say that when we're doing our offertory, the nature of God, which is to give. But we also are here to enact the nature of God, which is to speak our word and to declare light, joy, peace, love, freedom into our lives. It is our job to do that, not wait for somebody to give it to us or hope that God, if we, are sweet enough, God may give it to it. No, it is our job to recognize and remember that power to speak the word, that power to choose what we will be this day, who we will serve this day, how we will show up, and what we will experience, that power is in us. We have the power to choose our own let there be. We can so frequently feel when we're busy like this at the effect of everything. And to me, the worst thing is when I am so exhausted Christmas morning. This tended to happen more when my kids were little, and some of you might have had this same experience, that I rushed around and tried to get everything all done, so there they were opening presents, and I was just exhausted and cranky. Here were all these gifts that I had been busy about and tried to be good at finding out what people wanted and doing this and making this. But I was exhausted and cranky. Where was the Spirit in that? And I would forget that the ability to have the experience I wanted lay in me, always lies in me. They say, Elizabeth, as my father would say, Elizabeth, let there be joy right here, right now. That is up to me. It's not up to my kids. It's not up to the weather gods. It's not up to TSA. It's not up to the pilot. It's not up to my dad. Boy, would he be glad to hear that. If you still have parents around, or if you are a parent, just say, yep, yeah, no. We have the power. And it is so wonderful in this, our Science of Mind teaching, that this is what we teach, that this power to say, let there be, which we call affirmative prayer or treatment, is that declaring what it is that we want to experience, and knowing that as we declare it unequivocally, it moves upon something called the law of cause and effect that brings it back into our experience. That when we powerfully choose, what we're thinking all the time will go into that same law. But when we remember we are the source of the let there be, then we can cut through all the, oh, I'm so tired, oh, this is going to be so hard, oh, I'll never get this done, oh, this is never, and just say, let there be peace, let there be joy, right here, right now, right where I stand. Ernest Holmes, as a matter of fact, I came across this the other day. I love this. He said, if a treatment could be seen, and treatment, spiritual mind treatment, is what we call our method of affirmative prayer that has several steps to it. He said, if a treatment could be seen, it would be a pathway of light to what we want. Because when we speak our word, knowing that God is already here, and God is that light, that love, that harmony, that peace, that wisdom, that joy, God already is that. That divine infinite is right where we are, so we already are that. So when we speak that, we light the way with those words of truth. We light the way to our experience of them. Instead of wishing or hoping or worrying that it's not going to be that. We light our own paths by our let there be statements. So as you move through the rest of these wonderful weeks, remember to speak your word. To say, what do I want to experience? Peace of mind, joy, love, vitality? And so for each of you now, again, close your eyes. What is it that you most want to experience right now? Is it vitality? Is it clarity? Is it peace of mind? Is it joy? Is it love? And claim it now. Just say to yourself, let there be whatever in me. Let there be joy in me. It's so simple. And you have the ability to do that in every single moment. So there's a third quick thing that I wanted to finish with. And I realized there's a lot of creation stories around the world, around different cultures, and often they talk about light. But I thought, how interesting and wonderful and telling about our evolving understanding of this thing we call God. That it says, let there be light, and there was. And contrast that to the Roman Greek gods. Those kind of gods, they would get stuff, but then they'd go hold it. They'd hold on to it. They were jealous. They wouldn't let human beings have that unless they, did a bunch of stuff. But the gods of old would hoard all the good stuff. Yet, the God that started coming into awareness for the Hebrew people, though so many thousands of years ago, said, let there be light, not just for me, light for everyone. That is God's givingness all the time. That light is here to be available for us, that it is for us to have these lives of joy, of peace, of freedom, of clarity. And that light is shared with us so we may see our way to it, that we may be guided to it. Not run around waiting for some little moment when a God might, if he doesn't have anything else to do and is feeling particularly generous, may go, oh, here you go. There's a little bit of light. Quick, you missed it, sorry. That let there be light is that gift of God to us to be awake and aware of all that we are and all that is possible for us. Lives of meaning and great joy and fulfillment. The let there be light is so that we may see the truth of who we are and experience and live in it. So let's remember that as well. And let's move into prayer. And I am so grateful that infinite gives to me, gives to each of us in every moment. That love which knows itself as light, as wisdom, as truth, as peace, that which I call God, that which is light itself, is everywhere present, and that means it is present right where I am. It is never apart from me. That light that Spirit is burns in me, and it is simply mine to awaken to it. And when I fall asleep, as I invariably do, awaken to it again. And so this day I remember to be awake to that light, to look to that light, and to allow it to guide my steps, to guide my doing, to guide my being, to move me into being the fullest expression of it, the fullest expression of that light that is possible. And that I remember that I have the power to speak my word, to speak that light, that wisdom, that truth, that love, that peace to being in my heart at any moment, and I use that. I use that gift given so freely, so abundantly by that infinite that created me. As I use it, as I speak it, I truly step into the shining holiday season, and I see how the light is revealing beauty everywhere I walk. I am so grateful, and so it is.